Hey everyone, welcome back to Manga Storian. Now today, I thought it'd be fun to talk about the Nier Manga that finally just launched locally here. It's been out in Japan for like 2 years, and it follows an established storyline that already exists, but we finally have the manga here in the US. And I thought, what better time to talk about a Nier manga than when the Nier anime just started, which if you haven't seen it, that first episode, if you're a fan of Nier Automata, incredible. I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, if you can tell, I'm a fan. I have the little 2B figure, and then I have the she can get naked 2B figure behind me. But maybe I'll tell you that story another day. So anyway, in order to establish this, I do need to let you know about a few things. Now, this manga is written by Yoko Taro, the guy that made the entire franchise, and it's based on a musical stage play, apparently, that he created to tie into the canon and lore of the entire Nier universe, okay? He then took that stage play and turned it into this manga. So I wanted to put that out there up front. Now the stage play has very few notes and summaries here in America. I couldn't find anything that was more than like 2 paragraphs and basically gave you a quick rundown of what's going on, which is why I'm excited that this manga actually exists, because now I can see other sides of the Nier storyline that I didn't know existed. Now before we go any further, in case you just want to read this manga yourself, there's going to be spoilers for part 1 and 2. There's 2 parts to this manga. The second part comes out in March. But the story itself is about the origins of A2, which if you know the franchise is this person. No, I pointed at the wrong side, and I'm the editor for this. Anyway, it's this person over here, and the leader of the resistance that I will probably butcher her name, but Anemone, Anomia, it's it's Anemone, okay? And I want to say it's Anima, but that's not right. And Anomia is not right. So we're just going to say resistance leader. So if you want to read this yourself, this is your chance. Now I'm going to get into what happened in volume 1 of this 2-part manga series that explains a lot of the origins. So we start the story off by explaining the world of Nier. The planet has basically been overrun by machines, and the humans had to flee the planet. The humans then created a space station where they have androids that they send back down to have this continual, never-ending machine war. Androids can live for hundreds of years, so they end up going down in multiple deployments, and this is kind of important. And we cut to 16 YoRHa members, which are basically the group that 2B is a part of, and A2, and everyone that we know from the franchise, being sent down for a big strike to take out some facility going on with the machines. On the way down, we lose 12 of the YoRHa members, and we are left with a very confusing situation because they all have different number designations and no other way to tell them apart. So I kind of dubbed them my own thing. We have number 16, which is kind of the jerky one. We have number 21, which is more serious, and she's kind of like keeping track of the mission. We have 2, who looks just like 2B, but is not 2B. 2 is a different character, introverted, shy, doesn't want to do things. And then we have the one that I couldn't catch her number, but she's basically the quirky, goofy one. Like at the beginning of the manga, they establish that the blindfolds are goggles, which as much as I love Nier, I've never heard them referred to as goggles, but that makes 100% sense. I've just always thought them like bandanas that they can see through. But yeah, goggles. And the goofy one, who I can't remember her number designation, so we're just going to call her the goofy one, she has made modifications to her goggles by undoing one eye. So she's the eye patch one. So we got the jerk one, the serious one, the eye patch goofy one, and then we have 2. 2 is now the new commander because 1 was the commander and 2 would be next. So 2 is automatically designated the commander of the mission. These 4 YoRHa land on the planet and they're getting ready to commence their mission when the serious one, 21, suggests that they don't do the mission. That there's only 4 of them left. It's going to be impossible to complete this mission, and because of that, they should call up command and ask to be relieved of what's going on. They call up command and like 2's like, yeah, of course, yeah, command, come get us, come bring us back. Command's like, no, you're going to complete the mission with the 4 of you. That's all you can do. And then the commander up in the space station starts laughing maniacally about how she's overworked and it could lead to, I guess, like brain strain and it could ruin her. Basically, she's put across as being a villain and she probably shouldn't have left them on the planet. But all we got was evil laughter, and then we don't go back to her at all for the rest of this manga. So evil laughter, in my book, means evil villain of the whole plot. They are alerted that there's about 100,000 or 10,000 of the machines moving on their position. There's only 4 YoRHa, and they've got to go in and just go ham. They got to fight all these machines as quick as they can, but there's only 4 of them, and they know they're going to lose. And as they seem to be losing ground to all of these machines attacking them, gunfire comes out of nowhere and they see other individuals on this planet who are helping them and shooting out these machine robot things and just taking them all out of the way. Both groups then, after they take care of the machines, are the survivors then pull guns on the YoRHa members wanting to know who they are. We discover that these survivors have been on the planet for the last 200 years. On the 8th descent, when they sent other androids down to fight against the machines, this group got left behind, and that they've been on the planet surviving for this entire time. 2 in her group decide to work with the survivors, hoping that they'll help them accomplish their mission. The survivors are a little iffy because they don't know why the YoRHa are down here and they don't know what they're doing. So they're iffy, but they agree to help 2 in her team complete their mission. So then we're introduced to an entire other group of people. We've got Commander Rose, we've got Lily, and those are the only 2 that are really important. The rest of them are all just there, and they've got names though, just they're not as important. Anyway, we move on. The group starts to move forward, going towards their objective in this story. And they end up making camp on one of the nights. And this is when the 2 groups get a little sketch with each other. Because Commander Rose thinks the YoRHa are down here to get rid of the survivors. But that then leads the serious one to wonder, why would abandoned survivors be afraid of the YoRHa? First off, they've been abandoned, so why are they scared that somebody's come down to collect them? What did they do? Okay, and they go back and forth about how 2's group has also been abandoned now, and they decide no, you've also been abandoned. You're down here forever as well. That's what Command does. They abandon the androids. But the serious one eventually does a bunch of research after before we get to the research, they do establish that this group has 2 experimental androids with them. There's an overweight android who apparently is supposed to be like a mule kind of a situation. She has 2 batteries, tons of energy, but she burns up in a hurry. And then they have this, what they called a twiggy little girl kind of thing. She looks like a grown adult, but she's just basically the equivalent of a skin and bones kind of person. And the mean jerky one basically is like, that one couldn't fight. Why is she on your team? That one's the Lily one, and we'll explain her in a second. So anyway, the serious one does some research. While everyone's kind of resting up, getting ready for the big assault the next day, the serious one approaches some of the characters from the survivor group and is like, hey, I know you're deserters. I looked into it. So we establish now that the survivors are actually deserters from the 8th descent. That's why the survivors were concerned that the YoRHa were down here to get them. So then we find out why they're deserters, as everyone's at a big standoff. It turns out that their group came down and Lily isn't a combat unit. Lily is a pleasure bot for the commander of that initial assault. Apparently the commander was abusing Lily, but Lily always came out with a smile, which cheered up the entire squad. So the squad ignored what was going on and just used Lily for support. Commander Rose at one point went into the tent looking for the commander to find a nearly dead Lily and finally snapped, hitting the commander. And I don't think it's established, but I'm pretty sure it's that Commander Rose kills the original commander. The whole team, because Lily is kind of like their support, decides then to free Lily and desert the battle so that they can just do nothing but protect Lily. And the whole group has now been protecting Lily for 200 years, avoiding anything because she was their one shining beacon of hope. So that's why they're deserters. 2 establishes we don't care that you're deserters. We don't care what you're doing. We just need to accomplish our mission. And if you're still willing to help us, then we're fine ignoring this. And the survivors are like, how do we know we can trust you? So they go back and forth for a few more minutes. But that's when Commander Rose pulls out a gun and says, look, I know the YoRHa aren't the problem, and I know we're not the problem. The person who is the problem is Lily. And they point the gun at Lily, and the manga's on a cliffhanger. So I don't know what's happening there. Now, the second part of this is going to come out in March, so I'll be able to easily make a video at that point. But if you want to know more, I can give you a quick summary as to what exactly is going to happen with the key points. Like I said, this is based on a stage play. So I looked up the stage play to see what direction it goes, and that's when I discovered there was only 2 paragraphs. I couldn't find much more. But this is your spoiler if you don't want to know more about this until the next chapter comes out. Basically, 2 is actually A2. A2 and the commander are going to accomplish the mission, and then they're going to both be abandoned, and that's how A2 is on the planet at the start of the game, which is why there's this random survivor that isn't a part of the survivors, but is off doing her own thing. Now, there's obviously going to be more happening in the manga because I could not find anything as to why they're accusing Lily, so I don't know if that's important or a red herring or what that is. But anyway, I loved this manga. I love this franchise. I love the anime, and I wanted to know your opinions on this. I'll give you a link down below so you can get the manga if you want it yourself. The anime is incredible. I'm loving it so far. The first episode was just great, and if you stayed after the credits, they do a great thing of playing into the fact that there's 24 endings to the game. Loved that. But overall, I enjoyed this. And I wanted to, with this channel, while we're going to do a lot of My Hero, Chainsaw Man, I've got the Junji Ito, I got Berserk on the playlist, or the list here. I'm already getting caught up on Dragon Ball to talk about that. I also wanted to dive into some of the more obscure manga that I read and I enjoy, and see if anybody else likes them. So we started with Nier. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe as we get this channel kicked off and started, and let me know in the comments down below different manga you want me to read and you want me to be caught up on and talk about with you guys in this format. Once again, I do apologize that we can't do traditional complete stories if you're coming over from Comic Storian, but last time we did that, we got shut down 3 times. So now I just want to have a community where we chat about manga. That's what we're building here. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time right here.